As a parent, keeping a child safe should be one of your number one priority. In today's Reddit story, a mother asked, is she an a-hole for not allowing her son to go to a family barbecue? It's from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? And it's titled, Am I the a-hole for not allowing my son to go to his paternal grandparents' anniversary barbecue because his father's stepchildren will be there? I, 33 female, have a 7-year-old son with my ex, 35 male. Almost a year ago, I was given full custody of our son and my ex was awarded supervised visitation. The reason for this was the abuse our son was suffering at the hands of his father's stepchildren, 12 and 13. This was a very difficult battle to win. It started 3 years ago when my son came home from his father's house and my ex announced that he had gotten remarried over the weekend and he wanted me to pay half toward the clothes he bought our son for the wedding because they got ruined. Of course, I didn't pay half, but I did ask why he expected me to pay and why the clothes were ruined. He said he felt like we should split the cost of big items like that. Then he refused to answer how they got ruined. Later that evening, when I was bathing my son, I noticed some bruises on him and it made me suspicious. He mentioned his arms hurt and that the big kids had done it. A few weeks later, my ex called me and asked me to come and calm our son down. He said our son was hysterical and he had been unable to calm him. When I got to his house, our son was still crying and wanting to come home with me. My ex's wife said one of her kids had accidentally stepped in on my son's foot and my son got scared. But I could hear one of her kids in the background calling my son names and saying they wanted to shut him up. Over time, things got worse. There were more bruises and more days where my son would get very upset at his dad's house. I spoke to my ex who said his stepkids were taking it bad that their mom had remarried and that they had lost their dad only 4 years prior, and it was difficult for them. He said he and our son weren't their favorite people, but he said it wasn't a big deal. I decided to document these incidents and injuries anyways because it appeared to me that my ex was not concerned and our son could be at risk in his home. As my son got bigger, he verbalized more and more about what was going on. The stepkids treated him like crap and were not embarrassed or ashamed to be rough with him. He got pushed and grabbed, and a lot of these accidents were happening. I put in a few calls to CPS and they started to offer resources. It pissed off my ex, but I was worried for my son. The verbal incidents weren't on CPS radar really, but the physical stuff they also documented, and some of my ex's family had witnessed things, and a few even sent me a rundown about what happened. The incident that brought us to me getting full custody was my ex and his wife leaving the 3 kids home alone for hours together, and the stepkids dragged my son out of the house and locked him in the garage on his own, where all the dangerous tools were held. My ex tried to fight for his right to retain custody, but CPS and the judge agreed it was not safe for our son. The reason he only gets supervised visit is his stepkids are not allowed around my son. My ex's parents are celebrating their wedding anniversary next month and they want my son there. But my ex and his family are invited and will be attending. I told them I could let them do something with him another time, but if the stepkids are there, my son won't be. They, along with my ex's older brother, feel like I'm being unfair and too strict and not trusting them to keep my son safe. But he wasn't in the past. I know that for a fact. Am I the a-hole? OP, you are completely in your right to keep your son safe. Do not send your son to the grandparents' barbecue. They have witnessed the abuse and the type of things that were going with your son before you got awarded full custody. And yet, they didn't protect him. So yeah, you're right. They did not protect him beforehand, and now they are sure not going to do it. And can they not understand that the stepkids are the one who's doing the abuse? Why would you invite the kids who are abusing your biological grandchild? Doesn't make sense. I get about wanting to have one big happy family. This clearly is not it. And the ex saying that like the ex and OP's son is not their favorite people and that they're taking it out on them. You know what? That's not fair. First of all, ex, you're an adult. Okay? Clearly your stepchildren need professional help. They need to seek therapy. Let them see a therapist and let them anger and let them work out whatever they need to. And yes, I do feel bad that yes, they did lose their dad 4 years prior to this. Okay, fine. Again, they need to seek professional help. They should not take it out on an innocent 7-year-old child. That's just straight up abuse. Okay? Like, clearly, I mean, I don't understand how the ex cannot be so concerned about his son's safety. Seriously. And he's gonna fight about it in court, saying that he wants to still maintain custody. Oh no. Completely agree with CPS and the judge saying that it is not safe for the son to be around them. He's lucky that he even gets supervised visits. This just makes me so angry. And OP, like I said, do whatever you can to keep your son safe, even if it means to go no contact, because clearly it seems like no one cares about your son's safety but you. Anyways, let's see what some of the commenters have to say about this. First commenter says, I would be honest and tell them, no, I don't trust you to keep him safe. You didn't in the past. And per CPS, those kids are not allowed to be around my kid. Exactly. Tell your ex or, well, your son's paternal grandparents that they should not be in the same area at the same time. Another commenter says, absolutely 100% this. Do not knowingly put your son in harm's way. I would also add that you can tell your son's paternal grandparents that this is a party to celebrate them. They should be able to enjoy themselves and the company of their guests without being worried about providing constant direct supervision of your son, not the a-hole. Yes. Another commenter says, another comment actually shares a short story about her. It says, short story. CPS decided my ex wasn't safe around my kids. I didn't think they were serious. It took me 4 months to get my kids back from foster care. I have full custody, but I had endangered my kids by agreeing to let her have unsupervised visitation. I'm not making excuses, but I messed up. But CPS can and will remove kids from a dangerous situation even if the custodial parent is okay. Wow. Another commenter says, CPS worker here. Don't allow him to go unless someone you trust has him with them the entire time. And kiddo has a way to contact you if he wants to come home. You're the protective parent. Dad has been found neglectful and unwilling and unable to keep the kid from harm. I'll honestly call the social worker and ask for their advice so you have your answer from them officially. Does he even want to go? Could you attend with him? Connection to his family is important, just not as important as his safety. I also hope your ex craps himself every time he sneezes for allowing this to happen and brushing it off for so long. Wow, completely agree. OP, I really hope you do everything in your power to keep your son safe. Anyways, what do you guys think of this situation? Do you have any advice for the OP? Let me know in the comments section. And remember, if you like these types of stories, to continue to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later.